The wedding was fast approaching, yet I discovered my fiancée had given $100,000 to her male assistant for his medical treatment, and had stayed with him in the hospital for half a month, on the very day of my mother's memorial service. What was supposed to be a business trip abroad was actually a trip to take care of someone else. I scoffed, dialed the phone, and said, "Dad, cancel the engagement. I'm not getting married." MY's voice on the other end of the phone suddenly rose. "What did you say?" "Son, since you were little, you've only ever had eyes for that girl Sophia. You gave up our family business for her, running off to work as an account executive at Sterling. You were about to get married, and now you suddenly saying you want to cancel the engagement. What exactly is going on?" My knuckles whitened slightly as I held the phone, but my voice remained calm. "Dad, do you remember the goldfish I had when I was a kid? Every day I'd change its water and feed it, but it always tried to jump out of the fish tank. Then one day, it actually jumped out." I paused. When I found it, it had dried up and died. The other end of the phone was silent for a long time. When Dad spoke again, his voice was a bit hoarse. "Are you really sure?" "Yes, I've decided." After hanging up, I opened my laptop and sent my resignation letter to the HR email. The next day, as soon as I arrived at the office, Chloe from the front desk informed me there was a meeting. Pushing open the conference room door, over 20 pairs of eyes simultaneously turned to me. Sophia sat at the head of the table, wearing a sharp white suit. Her hair pulled back, revealing her slender neck. She looked up at me, her gaze flickered for a moment, then quickly returned to normal. "Everyone's here, let's begin." Her voice was as cool and detached as ever. I walked to my seat and sat down. Liam was directly opposite me. He was particularly energetic today, his hair meticulously combed. His light blue shirt cuffs were adorned with dark gold cufflinks. I had specially brought them back from Paris 2 years ago for Sophia's birthday. They were antiques. "Today's meeting has only one agenda," Sophia said, looking around the room, "the appointment of the director of marketing." My fingers unconsciously tapped the table. That position should have been mine. From 5 years ago, when I gave up my family business and came to Sterling, I worked my way up from the ground floor to vice, and everyone thought it was a done deal. After careful consideration, I've decided to appoint Liam as the new director of marketing, effective next month. After a few seconds of silence, the conference room erupted. Arthur, the director of finance, was the first to slam his hand on the table and stand up. "Ms. Sophia, this is against the rules. Assistant has been with the company for less than 3 months, he hasn't even passed his probationary period." Brenda from the operations department also stood up and chimed in. "Exactly, in terms of seniority and capability, Vice Ryan should be taking over." I sat quietly, my gaze fixed on Sophia's face. Her expression didn't show the slightest flicker of emotion, she simply raised a hand slightly, motioning for everyone to be quiet. "Although has been with us for a short time, the new proposal he submitted has already been approved by the board of directors." Her voice wasn't loud, but it carried an undeniable firmness. "I believe he can lead the marketing department to new heights. And that's final." Liam lowered his head, feigning humility. But the faint smile on his lips still betrayed him. When his gaze met mine, a hint of triumph flashed in his eyes. "If there are no other questions, the meeting is adjourned." Sophia closed her briefcase. I stood up, my chair scraping across the floor with a grating sound. Everyone's gaze fixed on me. Sophia frowned. "Ryan, do you have something to say?" "No." My face was calm as I turned and walked toward the door. "Vice Ryan." Liam suddenly stood up and quickly caught up to me. "Please wait." He reached out and stopped me. "I'm from the countryside, so I lack experience and broad knowledge. I truly don't deserve this director position. So I think it would be more suitable for you to take on this role." His voice grew quieter, perfectly conveying the nervousness and humility of a newcomer facing a senior. But as he casually adjusted his tie, I clearly saw the watch on his wrist. It was the Patek that Sophia gave me for my 20th birthday. I hadn't wanted to wear it, so I had kept it carefully in my safe. My blood ran cold as I recognized it. "Liam, don't be like this." Sophia walked over and gently patted Liam's shoulder. This is a company decision, you don't need to step aside. She turned to me, a hint of reproach in her eyes. Ryan, you are not going to be this petty-minded, are you? Her words felt like a knife twisting in my heart. For years, I had given up my family business, and started from the bottom. I brought her meals when she worked overtime, and I kept vigil when she was sick. I worked desperately hard, making Sterling's business volume soar year after year and its market value multiply several times over. And now, in front of the entire company's senior management, she was calling me petty-minded. I nearly bit my lip until it bled, and said coldly, Ms. Sophia, I resign. Sophia's expression finally showed a flicker of panic. Ryan, what did you say? I said, I'm quitting. Get out of my way. I pushed Liam, who was blocking my path. He stumbled, then immediately put on a hurt expression. Vice Ryan, please don't be angry. This is all my fault. I apologize to you, he said pitifully, constantly glancing at Sophia. Sophia quickly helped Liam up and glared at me. Ryan, you are going too far. Liam was trying to be helpful, how dare you push him? I scoffed, turning to leave. The quick click of high heels echoed behind me. Sophia hurried after me and grabbed my arm. Ryan, what kind of attitude is this? Her voice was as cold as ice. The company meeting isn't over, you haven't apologized to Liam, and you are just going to walk out. I stopped, looking at her with a calm gaze. She was still stunningly beautiful today. Her red lips like fire, her features exquisite as a painting. But in those eyes I once adored, there was now only condescending arrogance and disdain. Ms. Sophia, I've already resigned, I replied calmly. The meeting has nothing to do with me. As for Liam, I will never apologize. Her brows furrowed slightly. But soon, she resumed the expression of someone in control. I haven't approved your resignation letter, so you are still an employee of Sterling. Her tone softened slightly. Put the apology aside for now, go back to the meeting. I curled my lips and smiled. Ms. Sophia, since when do you care about procedures? Liam's probationary period isn't even over, yet he still got promoted to director, didn't he? Her gaze froze for a moment. The company's decision is not for you to question, is it? No, it's not. I nodded. So, I choose to withdraw. Out of sight, out of mind. With that, I walked around her and continued on my way. She clearly hadn't expected me to be so decisive. She froze for a second, then clicked her high heels, chasing after me. Ryan, what exactly are you trying to do? Just because I didn't make you director. I looked at her, and suddenly found it laughable. She still thought I was just sulking about the position. Sophia, I enunciated each word. We've known each other for so many years. When have you ever seen me throw a tantrum over work? She froze, seeming to choke on my words, but she quickly lifted her chin. Then what are you angry about? I looked into her eyes. You know better than anyone. Her eyes flickered slightly. I don't understand. What you re talking about? I came straight to the point, asking about the cufflinks and watch. Sophia was surprised at first, then explained casually. The cufflinks were a reward I gave Liam for his hard work. As for the watch, you never wear it anyway, so what's wrong with giving it to him? I almost laughed in anger. It turned out that something I treasured as precious, she had never cared about. Sophia casually played with a loose strand of hair by her ear, her red lips curving into a smile. Ryan, when did you become so petty? They are just 2 small items. If you like them, I'll buy you more. She turned to look in the direction of the conference room, her tone light. Liam has been staying up late every day for the project lately, so I had to show my appreciation. Appreciation. It felt like a block of ice had settled in my chest. Since joined the company, our arguments had grown more frequent. Every time it was because of Liam, and every time I yielded and compromised. But not this time. Sophia, on your birthday that year, I scoured antique shops all over Paris to find the pair of 19th century dark gold cufflinks. You said you loved the story behind them and that it was the most thoughtful gift. I pointed to the Tiffany bracelet on her wrist. Just like this Tiffany bracelet I bought at an auction 5 years ago. Her fingers unconsciously rubbed the bracelet. Her eyes flickered for a moment, then she instantly regained that condescending composure. Ryan, be mature. It's normal in the workplace to reward capable subordinates. Didn't you often give gifts to your subordinates before? I couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore, and we parted ways on bad terms. After I smoked for half an hour, I returned to my office. I was shocked to find my personal belongings scattered all over the floor. The most striking was my mother's photo. The glass photo frame was shattered, and there was a clear shoe print on it. Vice Ryan, I'm sorry. Liam hurried over, a fake apology on his face. Ms. Sapphire said this office needed to be cleared out for the new director, so I had it cleaned up first. I slowly turned around, my blood rushing to my head, roaring in my ears. Who did this? I pointed at the shoe print on the photo, my voice dangerously low. Liam's eyes flickered, and his fingers nervously intertwined. It might have been the cleaning lady. She wasn't careful when moving things. Bullshit. With bloodshot eyes, I kicked over the trash can beside me, metal clanging against the wall with a loud crash. Liam flinched in fear, his eyes immediately reddened, like a startled rabbit. What's going on? Sapphire hurried over. Liam immediately hid behind her. Ms. Sapphire, Vice Ryan is angry that I had the office cleared out ahead of time. Sapphire glanced at the mess on the floor and didn't even frown. It's just changing offices, isn't it? Is that any reason to get so upset? She didn't even look at the stained photo. If you don't want to change, just put everything back. I grabbed the photo, not even feeling the glass shards digging into my palm. Sapphire, look closely. This is my mother's memorial photo. Only then did she glance at it, her lips moving. Before she could speak, Liam interrupted. Ms. Sapphire, I truly didn't know this would happen. I didn't expect the cleaning lady to be so careless. But ultimately, it's my fault. Tears instantly welled up, and streamed down his cheeks. How about I go and offer my sincerest apologies to Vice Ryan's mother? Shut up. ID had enough. Liam burrowed into Sapphire's arms like a frightened quail. She immediately glared at me. Ryan, are you crazy? Liam has already apologized. What more do you want? He didn't even step on the photo. Liam immediately started playing the victim, his tears flowing even harder. Vice Ryan, I know you hate me, but I truly didn't mean it. Seeing my bloodshot eyes, Sapphire stood in front of Liam. Ryan, come at me. If you have a problem, don't bully Liam. Before I could say anything, Liam knelt without warning. His eyes were bloodshot, and his voice was choked with sobs. Vice Ryan, all the fault is mine. He trembling hands took off the cufflinks, and watched and held them out to me. I know you angry because Ms. Sapphire gave me gifts. I am just a child from a poor family. I don't deserve to use these things, and I certainly shouldn't have caused you to misunderstand and ruin the relationship between you and Ms. Sapphire. I snatched the cufflinks and watch in front of him. I threw them directly into the nearby trash can. Liam's shoulders trembled violently, and tears immediately gushed from his eyes, sliding down his cheeks, like a pitiful victim who had been bullied. Ryan, you are going too far. Sapphire rushed forward, grabbing Liam's shoulder and tenderly helping him up. She gently wiped the tears from his face, her voice impossibly gentle. Liam, don't be like this, you did nothing wrong. When she turned to look at me, her eyes were as cold as ice. Ryan, do you have to humiliate him like this? Liam took the opportunity to grab Sapphire's sleeve, his voice thick with tears. Ms. Sapphire, maybe I should just resign. I don't want to upset Vice Ryan, and I certainly don't want to disrupt the company's harmony. He spoke with apparent sincerity, but the corner of his mouth curved up almost imperceptibly. Sure enough, when Sapphire heard this, she felt even more protective. She tightly clasped Liam's hand, her tone resolute. No. You earned your director position through your own merit. Why should you resign? Ryan, look at what you've pushed Liam to. Even now, he's still thinking of you. But you, what else can you do besides being aggressive? I watched the farce coldly, a coldness settled in my heart. Liam's acting was flawless, Every tear was perfectly timed, and every word hit Sophia's soft spot. Sophia. I slowly spoke, my voice terribly hoarse. Can't you really see that he's acting? Acting. Sophia scoffed as if she'd heard a joke. Ryan, when did you become so malicious? Liam is innocent and kind, diligent and hard-working, nothing like you. You were calculating and petty-minded. Liam conveniently lowered his head, his shoulders trembling slightly, as if enduring a great injustice. He sobbed softly, Ms. Sophia, please don't argue with Vice Ryan because of me, it's all my fault, I shouldn't have accepted your gifts. In the first place, a child from a poor family has no right to wear cufflinks, and a watch worth millions. Sophia protectively patted his back, softly comforting him. Don't talk nonsense, you deserve the best. She looked up at me, her eyes full of disappointment. Ryan, I didn't expect you to become like this. Liam worked tirelessly day and night for the company, yet you are petty-minded about a small matter, and even repeatedly humiliate him. I clenched my fists, my nails digging deep into my palms. Think what you want. I turned and walked toward the office door without a moment's hesitation. Ryan. Sophia called after me. Are you just going to leave like that? Without even an apology. I stopped and looked back at her. Then I swept my gaze over Liam's hypocritical face. Sophia, this is over for us. Sophia froze. Liam immediately reddened his eyes, his voice choked with sobs. Vice Ryan, please don't be like this. Ms. Sophia truly cares about you. Sophia grabbed his hand, her tone firm. Liam, that's enough. Since he doesn't appreciate it, we don't need to try to keep him. After hearing that, I turned and left without looking back. Watching Zbak disappear at the end of the hallway, Sophia stood still, her fingertips unconsciously rubbing the Tiffany bracelet on her wrist. It felt as if a part of her chest had been brutally carved out, leaving an empty, aching pain. She opened her mouth, but in the end, nothing came out. Ms. Sophia. Liam's eyes were red, looking as if tears would fall at any moment. It's all my fault. If it weren't for me, Vice Ryan wouldn't be so angry. I'll go after him now, and apologize properly to him. He said, rushing out, but deliberately stumbled, almost falling. Sophia grabbed his arm. Liam, don't bother chasing him. Her voice held a hint of weariness and helplessness. Young Ryan has been spoiled since childhood. No one can stop him when he loses his temper. Liam lowered his head, his eyelashes trembled slightly, and his voice was choked with sobs. But I don't want to cause misunderstandings between you and Vice Ryan, and ruin your relationship because of me. He subtly raised his eyes to observe Sophia's expression, and seeing that she seemed distracted, he quickly added, perhaps I should resign. As long as I leave, Vice Ryan will surely come back. Sophia snapped back to reality at his words, her tone resolute. Nonsense. A company appointment is not a game, your abilities are clear for all to see. Why should you resign? She rubbed her temples, her voice softened. Liam, don't blame yourself. I know Ryan, he's just sulking for now. He'll be fine in a few days. Liam's fingertips subtly clenched the corner of his clothes, but he still looked self-reproaching and fragile. But Vice Ryan even threw away the gifts you gave him. He must hate me. He said, a tear conveniently slipped down, his voice so low it was almost inaudible. You are right, someone from a humble background like me doesn't deserve to be close to you. Sophia sighed, reaching out to pat his shoulder. Liam, don't overthink it. He's always been like this since he was a child, his temper flares up quickly, and cools down just as fast. Having a humble background isn't your fault. As long as you work hard, fortune will surely favor you. Liam lowered his eyes, hiding the triumph in them, but continued to speak obediently. Ms. Sophia, you are so good to Vice Ryan. He's so lucky. Sophia gave a wry smile. She didn't respond. Over the next few days, I returned to work at my family's company. Sophia didn't contact me proactively, but Liam's social media posts were bustling with activity. Every day, I saw him sharing photos of dining with Sophia and working late into the night. The captions were always suggestive. Thanks for the special care, Ms. Sapphire. The starlight at 3 a.m. isn't as bright as your eyes. Even more outrageous, he deliberately replied to colleagues' teasing comments in the comments section. Some relationships are better understood than spoken of. I scoffed as I scrolled past. That night, my phone suddenly vibrated. Liam sent me a 10-second video. In a hotel room, under dim lighting. Sapphire sat on the edge of the bed, kissing him with her eyes closed, her pajama strap half slipped off. The video abruptly cut off, followed by a message, "Sorry, Vice Ryan sent that by mistake." I stared at the deleted message notification, and made a phone call to Caleb from the technical department. He was my junior in college and owed me a big favor. Help me retrieve a deleted video, and check the time it was recorded and the location. The next day, I received an invitation to Robert's birthday banquet. On the gold-embossed envelope, the Sterling family crest gleamed brightly. I wanted to refuse, but my persuaded me, "Go, this is a good opportunity to formally cancel the engagement." On the day of the birthday banquet, Sterling was decorated festively, filled with guests. As Dad and I entered the ballroom, Robert immediately saw us. He enthusiastically waved us over. "Ryan, come here quickly." He pulled us to the head of the table without explanation, arranging seats for us beside Sapphire. Sapphire was exceptionally radiant and captivating today. A wine-red gown outlined her graceful figure, and the diamond earrings on her earlobes sparkled under the lights. Seeing me sit down, she gave a charming smile. She served me food as she used to, and even peeled a shrimp, gently placing it in my bowl. "You've lost weight recently, eat more." Her voice was gentle, as if nothing had happened. During the banquet, guests chatted and laughed freely. Soon, someone brought up anecdotes from our childhood. Ryan was truly Sophia's little shadow back then, following her everywhere. Every time they played house, he insisted on being Sophia's husband, and would cry if he didn't get his way. They are getting married next month. Ryan is finally getting his wish. He'll definitely stick to Sophia even more then. Ha 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 ha. Everyone burst into laughter. I calmly took a sip of my wine, my expression unchanging. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed her ears flushed slightly. After a few rounds of drinks, Sophia suddenly stood up and took an exquisite gift box from a server. She opened it in front of everyone. Inside was a Patek limited edition men's watch worth millions. "Ryan," she said, her eyes shining brightly as she looked at me. "Your birthday is next month. This is a gift I picked out for you in advance." Everyone's gaze simultaneously turned to me. I put down my wine glass, and said coldly, "Ms. Sapphire, this gift is too valuable for me to accept." Everyone was stunned. They never expected that I would refuse. Sophia's expression froze for a second, but she quickly regained her smile. "It's been so many days, are you still angry? Don't be childish, everyone is watching. Try it on to see if it fits." She reached out to put it on me. But I stepped back, my tone firm. "Ms. Sapphire, please maintain your dignity." The air in the ballroom instantly froze. Robert frowned. "Ryan, what are you doing?" I said nothing. I stood up. "Robert, since everyone is here today, I have an announcement to make." Sapphire seemed to sense what was coming, her face instantly changed. MY's voice was clear and calm. "The engagement previously set between the Chern and Sue families is officially cancelled, effective today." As his words fell, the entire hall fell silent. Robert frowned deeply, his sharp gaze sweeping over Sapphire and me. His voice was deep and authoritative. "Ryan, what exactly is going on? Your suddenly says he wants to cancel the engagement. There must be a reason, right?" I patted my shoulder, motioning for me to speak for myself. I stood up and looked around. All the guests' gazes focused on me. "Mr. Robert," I said, my voice calm but each word clear, "last week, Ms. Sapphire spent millions just to help Liam, who comes from a humble background, gather $100,000 for his medical expenses. She also gave him the director of marketing position, which should have been mine, even though he had been with the company for less than 3 months. Robert frowned and looked at Sapphire. "Is this true?" Sophia's fingers trembled slightly, and she forced a strained smile. "Dad, Liam is sensitive, But he's very capable, and the new proposal he formulated has been approved by the board of directors. I didn't wait for her to finish and continued. Last month, Ms. Sophia lied about going on a business trip abroad to take care of Liam, who had broken his leg and didn't attend my mother's memorial service. Not only that, but Liam also trampled my mother's memorial photo underfoot, wantonly humiliating it. Robert's face instantly darkened. What? I took out my phone and displayed the photo from the office that day. On the shattered photo frame, the clear shoe print was shocking to behold. Robert took the phone, his expression growing uglier. Sophia. He slammed his hand on the table. What exactly is going on? Sophia panicked, stammering out an incoherent explanation. Dad, this truly wasn't Liam's fault. It was the cleaning lady who wasn't careful. Cleaning lady? I scoffed. Even a fool can see that's a size 43 men's leather shoe print. And wearing my watch, and using the cufflinks I gave you, was that also an accident? Robert's gaze was sharp. Sophia, what exactly is your relationship with him? Sophia quickly argued. Liam is my assistant. Nothing happened between us. Nothing happened. I sneered, taking out another phone from my pocket. Liam sent this to me. I opened the deleted video and handed it to Robert. In the video, in a dim hotel room, Sophia was disheveled, kissing Liam. The entire hall erupted in an uproar, and all the guests looked at each other in dismay. Robert's face instantly turned ashen, and he slammed the phone onto the floor. I looked at Sophia coldly. Is this what you mean by, nothing happened? Sophia's face was deathly pale. Uncle, this is a misunderstanding. Absolutely nothing happened between Liam and me. This video must be doctored. Robert was furious, and slapped Sophia hard across the face with the back of his hand. The crisp sound of the slap echoed loudly in the ballroom. Sophia covered her face, her eyes filled with hurt and disbelief. From childhood, Robert had never scolded her, let alone laid a hand on her. At this moment, I calmly spoke. Ms. Sophia is right. This video is indeed doctored. Sophia suddenly looked up, a flash of surprise on her swollen face. She thought I was going to cover for her. But the next second, I sneered as I questioned, but I must ask, Ms. Sophia, do you dare to swear to God that you haven't shared a room with Liam? She froze instantly. She stammered, That day we worked late, and the hotel only had one room left. I had no choice. I had to stay with him. You scoundrel. Robert flew into a rage and slapped her again with the back of his hand. A man and a woman alone in a room, what were you thinking? You've ruined my family's reputation. Sophia stumbled backward, her high heels twisted, and she fell to the floor. Her meticulously styled hair fell loose, looking utterly disheveled. Just then, Liam arrived. Wearing my tailored suit and expensive leather shoes, carrying 2 bottles of high-end scotch. He had thought Sophia would be happy, but he didn't expect her to look at him with extreme coldness. He gritted his teeth and stepped forward to wish him a happy birthday, his face plastered with a fawning smile. Mr. Robert, best wishes for a long and healthy life. This is the high-end scotch I specially bought for you. Robert didn't take the gift. Instead, he looked at Liam coldly, his gaze like knives. Who gave you the invitation? Liam's smile froze on his face, and fine beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Ms. Sophia gave it to me. I scoffed, sizing him up and down. Your clothes and shoes are quite tasteful, exactly like my son's. Can you afford them with an assistant's salary? Liam panicked. Robert's gaze grew sharper, his voice deep and authoritative. Tell me, where did your clothes, shoes, and high-end scotch come from? Liam's Adam's apple bobbed. His eyes darted around nervously. He instinctively looked at Sophia, hoping she could help him out, but merely turned her face away coldly, as if she didn't know him at all. All the guests' gazes focused on Liam, and a suffocating pressure filled the air. His fingers unconsciously twisted together, and his voice trembled slightly. The clothes and shoes, Miss Sophia gave them to me. The high-end scotch I bought with my own salary. Stop spouting nonsense. Robert slammed his hand on the table, making the wine glasses rattle. Ryan's personal belongings. How could Sapphire just give them away? Liam's face turned deathly pale as he frantically explained, "Mr. Robert, you've misunderstood. These really were rewards Ms. Sapphire gave me. She said I worked hard." "Shut up." Robert interrupted him sharply, turning to question Sapphire. "Sapphire, is what he's saying true?" Sapphire bit her lip, her eyes flickering. She took a deep breath and finally spoke. "Dad, these things. I did give them to him." Robert trembled with rage. "Do you have any idea what you are doing?" Seeing admit it, a flicker of triumph appeared in Liam's eyes, and his back straightened slightly. He feigned a wronged tone. "Mr. Robert, I know I come from a humble background, and don't deserve such fine things. But Sophia's intentions were kind, I couldn't bear to refuse." "Enough." Sapphire suddenly interrupted Liam, her voice as cold as ice. She turned to the butler and ordered, "Strip the clothes and shoes off him, and return them to Ryan." Liam instantly froze, his face deathly pale. "Ms. Sapphire, you..." The butler came forward with 2 bodyguards and started to act without explanation. Liam struggled desperately, his expensive suit tearing as he was pulled. "Sapphire." Robert frowned, wanting to intervene, but he was stunned by his daughter's determined gaze. I watched the farce coldly until the butler respectfully presented the wrinkled suit and leather shoes to me. "No need." I waved my hand to push them away. "I don't want things worn by someone else." Robert quickly tried to smooth things over. Right, it's just a suit and shoes. I'll have Sapphire buy you 10 new sets right away." "No, Mr. Robert." I calmly refused, and slowly walked in front of Liam. He was now wearing only a wrinkled, cheap shirt, standing barefoot on the marble floor, as humble as a dog. I picked up the high-end scotch he had brought and gently shook it. "Director, do you know that you bought fake alcohol? A real high-end scotch authenticity label on the cap changes color with the angle." I pointed at the cap. "But this one is always gold. Just like you." My voice was neither loud nor soft, yet the entire ballroom heard it clearly. "No matter how well you dress, at heart, you are still a pathetic parasite, relying on women for handouts." Liam's face was ashen, his lips trembled, unable to speak. "Ryan, that's enough." Sapphire suddenly spoke. I looked at her red eyes. "What? Did I say something wrong? The cufflinks you gave him were bought with the bonus from the proposal I worked on for 3 sleepless nights. That watch was the one you personally put on my wrist for my 20th birthday. What right does he have to use them?" Sapphire was speechless. She opened her mouth, but ultimately just lowered her head, tears silently dropping onto the floor. Robert sighed, his voice weary and apologetic. "Ryan, the Sterling family has wronged you. But for the sake of our family's long-standing relationship, can we not cancel the engagement?" I shook my head, my voice calm but firm. "Mr. Robert, some things cannot be made up for by sentiment." With that, I turned and left with my. As we walked out of the Sterling gates, Robert's furious roar came from behind. "Someone breaks legs. Make sure he never dares to step foot in Riverdale again." Then came a terrible scream. The next morning, as soon as I arrived at the office, my assistant quickly knocked on the door. "Mr. Ryan, Ms. Sapphire is waiting downstairs for you. She says she must see you." I frowned, originally intended to refuse. But eventually, I nodded. Sapphire stood in the lobby, her face pale, with dark circles under her eyes. Clearly, she hadn't slept all night. She saw me and quickly walked over, her voice trembling. "Ryan, can we talk?" I motioned for my assistant to leave and took her to the reception room. As soon as the door closed, she grabbed my arm, tears streaming from her eyes. I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. I believed Liam's sweet words and pretense before. I was fooled by him. I already had his legs broken and he's been driven out of Riverdale. He will never appear before us again. I swear to God, absolutely nothing happened between us. I can get a medical examination. Can you forgive me?" I calmly looked at her, slowly withdrawing my arm. "Ms. Sapphire, first answer me one question. Ask yourself, truly, have you never had feelings for Liam?" The expression on her face froze. Her lips trembled slightly, but she couldn't utter a single word. Ms. Sophia. Honestly, a tainted heart is no different from a tainted body. She suddenly looked up, her eyes wide with disbelief. Is that truly how you see me? What else should I think? My tone grew even colder. For him, you repeatedly trampled on my boundaries. Now that he's gone, you come back to me. Sophia, I am not your backup option. Her tears streamed down her face, her voice choked. But our years of history. History. I interrupted her. The moment you chose Liam, our history ended. She finally broke down, collapsing onto the sofa, sobbing into her hands. I just felt sorry for him. I scoffed. Because you felt sorry for him, you gave him my position and my belongings. Because you felt sorry for him, you chose to stay with him in the hospital instead of attending my mother's memorial service. And even when my mother's memorial photo was defiled, you still protected him. She was speechless. I stood up, my voice cold. Sophia, we are over. From now on, please don't ever appear before me again. She froze for a moment, then said nothing, turning to leave. Watching her lonely figure disappear into the elevator, I let out a soft breath. Everything from the past had finally come to a definitive end. Later, the Sterling gradually stabilized under Robert's determined efforts, but it never returned to its former glory. Meanwhile, my career thrived. My family's company steadily expanded under my leadership, becoming an industry leader. Occasionally, I still heard news about Sophia. I heard she remained single, never dating again. Some said she had changed, becoming cold and assertive. Others said she simply poured all her energy into the company. But none of that concerned me anymore. One evening, I stood alone by my office's floor-to-ceiling window, overlooking the night view of Riverdale. The lights glittered, and traffic flowed endlessly, the city's hustle and bustle never ceased. My assistant knocked and entered, handing me a document. Mr. Ryan, here's your schedule for next week. I took the document and casually flipped through it. Oh, by the way, my assistant hesitated. Ms. Sophia from the Sterling sent an invitation today. She hopes to meet with you next week to discuss a multi-billion-dollar collaboration project. I closed the document and calmly stated, from now on, decline all collaborations from Sterling. My assistant nodded and left. I looked out the window again. The night was deep, the stars sparse. Some people, once missed, are simply missed. And my future was destined to be separate from hers.